when did you fall in love with like women in hip hop?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Where My Girls At. And we have a very special guest today. Okay, we have Brooklyn White-Grier with us today. Hi, Brooklyn.
Hello. How are y'all?
I'm so good, and we're so happy to have you on here. I'm so happy that we were able to work out all of our scheduling issues.
Totally.
And figure this out. And I know this episode's coming out a little later than usual, but like we had such a cool guest that we had to make this happen. So it's going to be a little delayed, but please forgive us. Okay, so I'm going to read your bio here, which I think is really cool, but also like I feel like doesn't even fully encompass like all of your work. Like, because I feel like I've been like following you on social media and like your work for years, like since I was in college, you know? And so it's really incredible to see all of the work you've done. But it says Brooklyn White-Grier is a culture journalist and editor with nearly a decade of editorial experience. She's written stories for a number of publications, including Essence, CNN, The Washington Post, Teen Vogue, The Gumbo, and more. How are you, Brooklyn? How's it going? You're well? That's exciting. Yeah. And we want to say congratulations on the cover story. I can't wait to go pick up my copy. They did not have it at the newsstand today.
It comes out on Tuesday. It'll be in stores on Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So I was gonna go out there early in the morning because I feel like everybody's trying to buy it. You know,
I know it's in certain locations,
but it comes out officially.
People are snagging it. I'm seeing photos of it online. But it officially comes out
that's exciting. That must make you really proud and excited.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's very surreal. Very surreal.
It's very surreal. It feels very earned, you know? Like, I've read some of the other stuff you've written about Beyonce. And, you know, I just think you're really an incredible writer, an incredible journalist, editor. So, like, congratulations on that. That's absolutely huge, but 100% deserved.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And how are you today, Brianna?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here with you all during the intersection of Black History Month and Women's History Month coming up. So just celebrating all the excellence and goodness that is of both months. But I'm doing well. How about you, Mariah?
You know, I'm doing really well today. Today was a very chill day at work. So that means I'm in a good mood. But should we jump into some hot topics? We actually don't have that many hot topics.
Yeah,
mostly because I wanted to spend most of our time talking with Brooklyn and talking. So I kept it very light. We're usually a lot messier, I promise. With the hot topics, but we're not gonna be today. Okay, so this one was really interesting to me. And I don't know if you guys are fans of Monica, but I feel like anybody who grew up with like a Black mama in the early 2000s like has heard everything she's ever done. But Monica announced that she's going to be one of the opening acts for the Pink Friday 2 tour. First of all, Brooklyn, are you going to go see the Pink Friday 2 tour with Nicki?
That's a very interesting question. Probably not, because I'm about to have a baby, so I'm going to be in the crib.
Congratulations.
Yeah, very valid.
But yeah, I don't know how many concerts I'll be attending, which is why I said it's an interesting question, because I have not even thought about like the fact that I can't pop out for concerts.
Right.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'll be in the crib.
You'll be in the crib.
Yeah.
I'm online though, so
absolutely
I'll enjoy Gag City virtually, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do we think? What do we think about Monica being one of the opening acts for the Pink Friday 2 tour? What did you think about this?
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a little bit random, but you know, nothing surprises me with Nicki Minaj nowadays, so it's like, I'm like, sure, it probably made sense in her head, and like, you know, who knows, it might be a good opportunity for Monica to be out there and like, you know, reach out to a younger audience again.
Definitely a younger audience for sure. What did you think about it, Brooklyn?
I mean, I'd seen the footage of her and Nicki in the studio, so it wasn't super surprising. There's obviously a relationship there, and
I think she's on the deluxe version of the album.
Oh, that makes sense.
There's a song with her, I believe. I did not listen to it, so I can't confirm.
Okay,
but I think so.
Yeah, I think when artists have a good relationship, it translates well to touring. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun moment for them both.
I think it'll be really fun. I love Monica so much, and I feel like she's one of those like women in R&B who really like we don't talk about enough, you know. But I feel like she back in like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, like Monica was. I mean, that's all my mama played. Okay, like that's single mama music. Okay, like I love Monica. But I don't get it a little bit. I mean, I get like Nicki is, you know, they're around the same age and she grew up listening to her music. But this fan base is very young to me.
That's true.
You know, so I'm always like a little bit, I don't know. And I'm still on the fence about whether or not I'm actually going to go to the tour. I know I said I was, and then I said I wasn't when she was, you know, acting a fool. But I just feel like from a purely like, I've never seen her live perspective, like, there's a part of me that's still intrigued. So I don't know.
Totally.
But speaking of legends, Eve has announced that she will be releasing her memoir, Who's That Girl, this year, September 17th, 2024. And I, for one, am really excited. I think we need more memoirs about women in hip hop. But are you guys excited about this release? And go ahead and tell me why.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. To the same point as you, like, there needs to be more women's voices in the conversation. And I think especially being able to, I think, have the space to, like, express themselves without feeling like, okay, like, I feel like my career is going to be at jeopardy if I say X, Y, and Z. So I think it'll be a really good opportunity to see the lens through the lens of somebody who was living through a different era of hip hop at the time. So it should be cool.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see women, especially women in hip hop, telling their own stories, because I feel like if you don't, someone else will. And you might not completely agree, or you might be like, "Hey, I was there. Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
So I'm excited for Eve's story, as well as, you know, Lil Kim and Foxy.
Yes. When is this Lil Kim book? When is it coming out? Because I feel like it was supposed to come out like last year or the year before that. I'm ready for it. I just cannot wait for it to come out. You know. But no, I agree. Like, I love Eve. And I feel like, again, she's another legend that really doesn't get, I feel like, her flowers, you know, for how many trends she set, number one.
Right.
Like, if Eve, another person, if it weren't Lil Kim, I would want Eve to release a coffee table book. Like, of those looks, that platinum blonde, that pixie, like, she just, and I went to school in Philly, and so, like, I feel like all the time I spent there made me feel very, like, enmeshed and entrenched in their culture. And she is just so fucking Philly. Like, she really fucking, she's just so Philly. And I just love that. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and she's someone, I don't think, at least from what I've seen, she doesn't do, like, a ton of press, at least in this, you know, phase in her life and career. So I'm really excited to hear, like, her, you know, unbridled, long-form commentary on her life.
I hope she does an audiobook, and I hope that she narrates it.
That would be amazing.
That would be so good.
I would love that so much.
Great voice. Great voice.
I would love for her to narrate it, and then for her to have, like, a lot of other people also narrate chapters, like, get Mason there talking about, you know, the night he discovered you, allegedly. Like, I want Swiss Beats, let's get him to narrate a chapter or something. I would really, really love that, because I just finished Britney Spears' memoir. Number one, I loved it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Michelle Williams.
Oh my God, but that's what I was going to say. She was phenomenal at narrating that memoir. And I just think
can see that.
I would have loved for Britney to do it, because I would have loved to have heard it in Britney's voice. But if it wasn't going to be her, Michelle Williams, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, and our last hot topic. So this I found on, like, it was just so interesting to me. So this is like from Deadline, what I'm reading. Music mogul Deb Anthony is to search for new up-and-coming female rapper in a reality series competition called Deb's House for All Black. So it is supposed to debut this summer on All Black, and it's coming from AMC Networks. And it's supposed to be Deb looking for her next rap protege. Okay. And so she says, I envision a competition series that deviates from the norm, one centered around personal growth and self-competition. And then she collaborated with an EP named Rashid to bring this vision to life. And she says that, but this is interesting, she's witnessed the music industry veer away from artist development towards a focus on superficiality and explicit content. And it prompted her desire to return to the core values of true lyricism and mentorship. And so she said, the search for the next female rap sensation in Deb's House is my way of reigniting that passion. So what do I think about this? Are we excited for Deb's House?
Absolutely. She was Nicki Minaj's manager.
That's right. And I feel like many people don't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Very early in her career. So if someone knows how to spot and, further cultivate talent, it's her. I also think that she brings in a different perspective. She's not in her 20s and 30s. Like she's seen a lot of changes and been able to track them. So I am extremely excited. I've always loved rap competition type shows.
Hell yeah.
What was it? Miss Rap Supreme that was on in like 2006 and 2007 and like somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with that show. I really wanted Miss Cherry to win, but it's fine. But yeah, I love those kind of competitive shows, and I like to see what the people from those shows end up doing because Lotto, is a
she's a really good example too.
So yeah, I'm excited. I will be tuned in, and I'm interested to see the commentary and just the generational outlooks. I'm interested to see how old the talent will be, how they'll feel about some of the commentary. So yeah, I'll be tuned in.
That's so true. I hadn't thought about that. I also didn't know that she was Nicki Minaj's previous manager, so I feel like that adds another perspective to it. To me, I only know her from Love and Hip Hop as Waka Flocka's mom. That's who I know her as. But I think that it's great that there is another opportunity for women to show off their talent in a dynamic way. I'm curious to know what the challenges are going to be like. So, it's going to be a lot of obviously freestyling. I wonder if there's going to be music videos, who's going to guest star to be able to collaborate with.
Yeah, who are the judges?
Yeah, who are going to be the judges? Who are they
going to bring into this?
Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how she kind of makes it her own and what diamonds in the rough that might come out of it.
Yeah,
I also love the idea of rap competitions, and I also love someone like Deb, who's, seen so much probably in this industry to come. But I also think on a larger scale, it really says something about where we are in hip hop that she was able to sell a show that is based entirely around women in hip hop, around female rappers, to a network like AMC, to produce this. And that's how big this has really gotten again. And I think that in itself is an accomplishment, that's where we are in our culture, that now we're looking for the next big female rapper because there are so many,
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that as well, of even veering a little bit off of music in itself, though, even women's sports now is becoming more popular, especially college women's sports. It's oh no, South Carolina is going to beat Iowa. They're right. the best girls out there right now. So I think it's the whole idea of women, taking up space in a meaningful way, and people are let's engage with these people. Let's figure out how we can continue to see them in this type of light. So I think it goes from music to also to sports as well.
I think it goes even beyond that, even beyond music and sports, but they're just I think maybe this is a trend that we're seeing, but I want it to be the norm. Let's keep this.
Keep up with the energy.
Let's keep this energy going forward. Okay, so should we talk about some new music?
Oh, yes.
There's been a lot of fun new music, Lotto release music, Glorilla, Young Miami, Sweetie, Tierra Whack. So usually Brooklyn what we do is we just like talk about if anything stood out to us. You know, if there was a song that you really loved or you really, really hated, either way, just like something that really stood out to you. Did you have any from this list or even not on this list that you were like, yeah, or no?
Yeah, Glow.
Get them, Glow.
I was so,
absolutely.
I mean, I've been a Glorilla fan since I heard her, and I actually got the opportunity to profile her in person. She came out to Dallas for a show maybe 2 years ago, so I got to spend like maybe 3-4 hours with Glorilla.
Mm-hmm.
She had the best energy, super upbeat, super open, and you can just tell that she had like a star power and a longevity to her.
Yes.
And so it's really cool to see her maintaining that momentum and also staying very true to her Memphis roots.
100.
She's very clearly inspired by 3 6 Mafia.
Hell yeah. But isn't everybody?
Yeah, right. But, she has I guess more of a legitimate claim.
Right.
Also being from Memphis. So, yeah, I mean, she's just raw and like, I mean, the song has a hook that's hot, but I'm like, she could have just barred me out for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, I would have just accepted
100%.
it because she's really, really talented. And I'm glad that this song is going up in the way that it is. Because it's like, yes, people see it.
Is this her fuck nigga free of 2024? Do we think this is the next, like, fuck nigga free?
It's February, so I can't say.
I was about to say, I think it's too soon. It's too soon.
But I feel like that's what happened with FNF. It was like, it came out, and then it was out for a little bit, and then it just, like, skyrocketed. I feel it in my bones that this is gonna happen for Glow. You know, I feel like I have a sixth sense about this kind of shit. You know, but I also have not stopped listening to the song.
Yeah, it's a banger. I'm wondering if she's prepping like a formal debut album.
She did talk about that. She did talk about that once in an interview.
Yeah, she hasn't. I think her previous release was an EP. So I'm interested to see what this album feels and sounds like.
Me too. She sounds energized on this song.
Yeah, she seems hungry. She seems hungry
again.
Yeah.
That's what I love. You really just gotta want it. Okay? Like, I love that. But what do we think about the Lotto song?
Oh my gosh.
I want to know.
On repeat. Yeah. Like, I've been watching it.
Service.
I've been watching the music video too. I think it's so funny that she pulled up to Ice Spice's old bodega shop just to like shoot this music video.
I love it. This is what I love.
Like, she's wearing the new LV cowboy like boot attire. Like, she's the sheriff. Like, it's beautiful, and I love her bars on there.
I love it because it gave to me the energy of this song. This isn't the final blow. Yeah, this energy it said, come and play. Like, let's really do this, you know?
Right, come find out.
Like, she said, do you rap or do you tweet? I can't tell. Get in the booth. Get in the booth, okay? Like, let's get back to some fucking music, okay? Stop tweeting. Pull up. Like, that's what, and I think I love that aspect of the song, even though people were like, she didn't go hard enough. I don't think this was her.
She didn't have to.
I don't think this was her, this is my final strike. You know, this is like a warning shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But what did you think about it, Brooklyn?
I like Lotto, so I love Sunday Service.
Yeah.
I think she has a great ear for production. The beats are like, I'm not gonna say they're what pulled me in, but if you have a good beat, I'm gonna let it play out, and she has the bars to back it up. So yeah, I'm into Lotto. I'm into this era of her. She seems more confident than ever. She's always had killer punchlines
for sure.
And now it just seems like she's almost like kind of embodying this veteran energy, which is interesting because she's in her mid-20s. But when you think about the fact that she's been active since she was, 16,
baby,
and she's maintained, and she's gone the independent route. She's done the major label thing. She's had her huge hit record. So now it's just like she kind of gets back. She gets to sit back and enjoy the fruits a little bit. While also maintaining like that fire. So I like Sunday Service a lot.
I saw her do this interview recently, and she was like the interviewers, I'm forgetting the name of two guys, but they were like talking about how they're like, yeah, like, you know, you're like
Wallow and Gilly. She was
Wallow
on
and Gilly.
$1 Million a Game.
Yes, and she was talking about how, like, they were like, yeah, you're like the top, you know, female like rapper right now, and she was like, you know, she's like, I think I'm in the conversation, but I don't think I'm up there yet. She's like, I'm still so hungry, and she's like, I want to drop another album. I still have more in my tank, and I think that type of energy is what makes me excited for like the other releases that are going to come out this year from her.
Yeah.
She did say, or she mentioned that she might be interested in dropping an album this year. Mm-hmm. And I personally think, like, let's do it. Everybody's dropping an album. Fuck it. You do it too. I want to hear it. Okay. I love when I have like just so much music, and I'm overwhelmed by new music. Same. I'm really excited for that. Were there any other new music that we wanted to talk about that really moved us? Did you have anything else?
Don Julio. Yeah, so good.
Yes. We love her so much. I just want the best for her. But she's so fucking clever. Like, I just can't get over it. I have not stopped listening to that song though. Like, it's been on repeat.
You know, I'm always rooting for the moms. So.
Exactly. Yes. No, she is a mom and wearing it well. She looks great.
Mother.
Looks amazing. Mm-hmm. Giving. Okay, so we're moving to our main topic.
Yeah, let's do it.
Brooklyn, we are so happy to have you here. We're so happy we could make this work. So we just want to ask you a couple questions about your life. Or about your work, your life. So
I'm like,
I know, right? Like, no, we're not doing that. This isn't Wendy Williams. So tell us like a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get your start, and like what made you choose journalism and like being a cultural journalist?
I grew up just completely immersed in the arts. I like to draw. I've always loved English. I loved history. And I made music for a really long time, and that was my passion.
Really?
Maybe.
She's like, that was a past life.
That's so cool, though.
That is cool.
But yeah, that was my real entry point from like middle school, really into like early adulthood. Like that was my thing. And I was like, you know, I think it's time for me to pivot. The checks aren't clearing.
Look.
And
I know it, shit.
Heard you.
So I was like, it's time for me to cultivate another skill. And I remember I had like number one, I spent a lot of time in the comments of like complex and noisy articles when I was in high school. And I always had hot takes. I wouldn't share them, but I was always like, I feel a way about this headline. And like, these commenters don't get it. Mm-hmm. So I think that was not necessarily the beginning of my interest in journalism, because I definitely grew up in Essence and a Vibe and a Jet magazine girl.
Yes.
I would leave my family in the store to go like to the magazine section.
Absolutely.
But I think as far as like digital journalism is concerned, and just seeing that there was a lane and a space where you could just exclusively talk about music, and you could start and continue certain conversations. Like I think that sparked my interest. So I saw that Saint Laurent, Solange's site, was looking for writing interns, and I applied for it and I got it. And so that was 9 years ago, and I've been writing ever since. So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so cool. And this is our favorite question to ask. Tell us, what made you fall in love with hip hop?
I felt like it was one of the only types of music that spoke to me. Like, it felt like they were speaking in a dialect that I could understand. Like, I understood the references to some degree because I was still young, but I was just like, I get this, I feel included. And also I felt like there was a message there. You know, the message has changed quite a few times, and it really depends on the artist that you're
right.
On the artist that you're listening to. But I just felt like it was for me, and I felt similarly about R&B. and there was so much overlap, especially when I was coming up.
For sure.
Between the two. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was what made me fall in love with hip hop.
I love that.
I love that. And so, have you ever thought about, I guess, the next steps in your career, right? Like maybe doing like a novel about hip hop or like Black pop culture. Like, have you ever considered, I guess, the other opportunities that could come with this industry? Because I think there's a grass field that you could really expand on.
Yeah, I think I would love to dive into books and novels, and I'm always looking for ways to explore different avenues of storytelling. Like I don't think that, articles are the only way. I think you can be a copywriter. I think you can write books. Mm-hmm. You can be a social media presence. You can do a podcast. I think, whatever feels right for you in like a certain period of your life, you can go for it. So yeah, I would love to do books.
That's so cool. So tell us, who's your favorite female rapper? Like right now, today, February 23rd.
You're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me. I don't have one. And if I did give a name, it would change in like 5 minutes.
Of course. Yeah. I feel like everybody does.
Yeah.
What about a top 3? Can we get a top 3 maybe?
Nice try.
Okay, well, we got to try.
We gotta try.
I really don't. I mean, I will say, I've loved Rico Nasty for a while.
So amazing.
I feel like Eve is top of mind because we just talked about
her,
but I was listening to Blow Your Mind with her and Gwen Stefani like maybe a week or two ago, and I was like, bars.
Yes.
I love Kim, obviously.
Of course.
I love Foxy. Missy. I mean, there are just so many women. I'm trying to think of people that people might not expect. Today is the 25th anniversary of Fan Mail by TLC.
Yes,
and I'm a huge Left Eye fan. I remember when her Supernova album came out.
Yep.
In the US, and gosh, there was another album she was like covering her eye on it. It was in black and white. I can't remember the name of it, but I begged my grandmother to buy it for me. And like I had to have it. We were in Walmart, I want to say, and like I just carried that CD around the whole store, and I was like, until you say no, I'm just gonna carry this with me. And it came with a DVD that had the last days of Left Eye on it.
I love it when they used to do booklets in the CDs. Like we need to bring back the booklets with all the notes about every song.
Right. It was called iLegacy. And it came out maybe between 2007 and like 2009. But yeah, Left Eye is up there.
Yeah. I feel like she is one that, we don't talk about a ton.
I was going to say, I don't feel like we have talked about her a ton on the podcast at all, actually.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this because I loved when I was younger, Black, her group. And I remember I made my cousin, because I was too young, go to the FYE store and buy their CD for me. Do you remember FYE store?
R.I.P.
You can just go in, put on some headphones and listen to some music.
Yes.
But I love the Black. I love them so much, and I love the whole Afro futuristic vibe that they gave off. And I feel like I've always loved that about Left Eye too. Just the fashion and the risks that she was willing to take.
Yeah. And the style in the No Scrubs video, and I think the overall concept of them being in outer space.
Yes.
That was her idea.
Yes.
So
I see that.
I just feel like women are just so brilliant when it comes to that. You know, when it comes to conceptualizing these kinds of things. We don't give them enough credit for all that they've done and how they've pushed the culture of music videos forward.
Right.
Woo! But I think in speaking on that, we can pivot to our Eras Tour conversation. This is our version of the Eras Tour, because I feel like we've been wanting for a long time to talk about very distinct eras of women in hip hop. So we're gonna, talk about it. And if we don't get to everything, that's totally fine. But let's start with the 90s like golden age of hip hop. I've always felt like this is one of the most documented and discussed eras in hip hop history.
For sure.
And I've always wondered to myself, why is it so vital to the conversation about women in hip hop? So I just like want us to like do this. We can do this very free flowingly. I don't know if you guys took notes. I always do. About like what music do we still listen to today? If there were major fashion moments that have become legendary, which women artists were influential, in which like cultural moments and influencers, trendsetters that we feel like really impacted 90s hip hop culture.
I'll start with Lauryn Hill. That picture of her at the Grammys holding all five of
those Grammys, including that album of the year.
Yeah, right.
Including the album of the year.
The last to get it, embarrassingly.
That's so crazy to me.
But yeah, my friend Nadir Simmons, who was a recent guest on here, she shared an excerpt of her book on Lit Hub, I believe, and she was talking about how Lauryn deserves even more. You know, we need new awards for her. But I think she was a fashion icon.
Yes.
You know, not a lot of women in hip hop had locks at that point.
Yes.
And in pop culture, period. You know, I think it was her and maybe Tracy Chapman had locks at that time. I know Badu had locks, but she usually kept hers
and like
hidden.
the rap situation.
But yeah, her having locks was super impactful to me. Her long denim skirts, which I think kind of came back around.
Oh my God, 1000%. It's like the trend now.
Yeah.
Right. I think she just embodied being herself.
Yeah.
She wasn't really trying. You could tell that she was very clearly inspired by like Black liberation ideology. But she made it her own. She added her own, like, you know, Rasta influences.
Right.
And, you know, her Christian influences. And I think it just made for really strong material that has honestly stood the test of time.
And
so
I think it's so crazy.
Discussing the 90s.
Yeah. We were just talking in our last episode about like comebacks and if women can have major comebacks. And I had said, you know, like, there's a Lauryn Hill route of a comeback. If you have like an album like The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and Brianna said something that I like am honestly still thinking about, like how many artists have a Miseducation of Lauryn Hill in their discography? Like how many of those are there out there? Like
there's one.
Like, not too many.
Right.
There's one. You know, the messages are still relevant. You can see her like growing in real time. And I think that's what makes it so impactful for me. Like,
and I think it's so crazy that she was so young too.
Right.
She was young, you know, between 23 and 25.
And I just cannot imagine at 23 making The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Like, that's
but it's like you don't know you're sitting on greatness, right? Until like you're just, I think what you were saying, Brooklyn, of like living in your truth, being who you are,
right?
Like your natural abilities, I think, are able to shine through, and it just and I think people are able to receive that in a genuine way. So I don't know if you know when you're sitting on gold like that.
Yeah, for me, I just remember like when I was in like middle school. And this is back in when MTV and VH1 and like all the Paramount stations would be showing like, you know, documentaries about the 90s and like all those things. I feel like that the 90s, all that I learned about it through those kind of like TRL and MTV and all of that situation, it's a very large part of the reason that I fell in love with hip hop. Everything about it seemed so luxe and so grand and so fabulous. Like everybody was just having a good time and they looked hot as fuck. Like everybody was fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And I loved like hearing women like Foxy Brown and Lil' Kim just talking shit, you know? But also Queen Latifah. Like,
I was going to say, Queen Latifah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the dimensions on this woman as well. Yeah. Like, not even just from a rapper getting into, like, one of the best people to go from rapping to acting, I would say.
Ever.
Like, ever.
Truly ever.
But yeah, no, I'm totally there with you.
Her and Will are like neck and neck.
Oh my God, 1000%, 1000%. If he hadn't won that Oscar, I feel like that gave him a little bit like this much more. But she has the rom-com game on lock. Okay, nobody does it quite like Queen Latifah. Yeah. Like nobody rocks a silk press like Queen Latifah.
I'm saying.
But I also think about like how important like what you do in like your articles that you write, and even like when you're tweeting and stuff like that, has been to me learning about people behind the scenes, like the Misa Hiltons, the April Walkers, the June Ambroses, all these people who kind of created these incredible, iconic, legendary fashion moments. Like, I feel like the Crush on You video, it like is permanently burned into my brain as like, this is what fashion should be like, like I think about that a lot. And so speaking about, influencers, trendsetters, designers, or anything like that, of women in the 90s culture, like, I just want to know, like, what your thoughts were about that, about the women who were not rapping.
Yeah, I believe it was the I'll Be video. I think June Ambrose styled Jay-Z and Foxy.
Oh, really?
And Foxy has on, like, this eggplant cutout dress, like her hips are cut out. Maybe it's cut out on one side. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's the one side, like the slit open. I know exactly what you're talking about. I love that dress.
Yeah, and I saw a video of Foxy talking about it some years later, and she was like, what other girl was like rocking a gown in a music video?
That's tea.
And I think that was like a Norma Kamali gown, if I'm not mistaken. So like she's right. Like that really wasn't the norm. No. So shout out to June Ambrose. She was also styling Missy Elliott.
She's behind the garbage bag.
Yeah,
that's June Ambrose.
Yeah, the acrylic suit.
Yeah,
she worked with Busta Rhymes. She's everywhere. I think she
everywhere.
She
once.
Styled the Ape Shit video.
Yes.
Her fingerprint is just on so many different things.
And
so when
in
I
the
think
Ape Shit video, Beyonce is wearing MCM by Misa Hilton.
Yes, she is. Yes,
these women are everywhere, even still today. That's who needs to release a coffee table book.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
oh, for sure.
Speaking of like streetwear culture, like April Walker and Walker wear, like being so huge. I feel like even into the early 2000s, my parents were still wearing Walker wear. You couldn't find it anywhere, but still, we're wearing that. But what do you think about that, Brianna?
No, yeah, I think definitely like I think again, like good, authentic, like music brands like will transcend time, right? And so it's like I think being able to see the impact like even like years later is I think something that proves that it kind of withstands the test of time.
I also think we have to give it up for Kimora Lee.
Hell yeah.
I think Baby Fat launched in 99.
Did it? Okay, I wouldn't know. I thought it was in 2000 something because that's when I was wearing it.
Right.
I think it formally launched in 1999. So like the very tail end of the 90s. But I think when we think of early 2000s fashion and like Y2K fashion, and it's like, faux fur trimmed.
Oh yeah.
And the cat logo on the back.
Yes.
And the fitted jeans and the flip phones and fragrance.
The razor, the pink Motorola razor.
Oh my gosh.
It is so bad.
It was a time.
Wait, didn't Ice Spice just wear Baby Fat to the Grammys?
She did.
Yes.
She did. And it was a custom look by Kimora Lee.
Of course it was. But speaking of
everything comes back.
I feel like everything old is new again. All the time. And forever and ever. But speaking of Kimora Lee, let's pivot into the 2000s. And I feel like this was a major turning point in hip-hop culture. And I think in part due to so many Southern women and their influences that we're really seeing. So tell me, I want to know what you guys think about how did Southern women really influence music? And not just music, but hip-hop culture as a whole in the 2000s.
I remember seeing Mia X and Missy in jerseys.
The
like
big
hip-hop jerseys.
jerseys.
Yeah, the big jerseys. And, that was the beginning of, like, jersey dresses as well.
Yes!
Yep.
Oh, my God. You just... Wait.
I feel like that Mariah Carey dress has been circulating around. Yeah.
I have been trying to source the No Limit Records big jersey that Rihanna was wearing. Well, like, I have been trying to find that for, like, I want it so bad.
Best of luck. The best of luck.
Oh, I know. I have had no luck finding it.
Yeah, Rihanna, she digs deep in those archives.
And she can, because she's Rihanna.
Yeah, I remember, like, the trucker hats. I think it was Trina in the the Right There remix
Oh, my
video.
God.
The Chanel earrings, the double C logos that were, like, kind of hanging. Of course, mini skirts. Boots, like the heeled boots,
the
like
fur.
the Manolos.
Oh my gosh, yes.
With the fur?
The Manolo styles. I think women were just bringing so much to the table. They were bringing their regions with them. They were bringing their slang with them. Their stories. And there were a number of stars to come out of the Deep South, and people that are still, getting their attendance today.
It was Trina. That was the first time I ever learned what a red bottom was listening to Trina. I learned about Louboutins through, like, her music. I was like, what do you mean your shoes have red bottoms? What are you talking about? It was out of my tax bracket. So I didn't know what she was talking about. Okay.
Right.
But Trina introduced me to it. Okay. Diamond Princess. Like, I think Trina... First, I could talk about Trina for days and days and days, but I feel like we are just so forever indebted to her. Women like her, I feel like, really, really just raised me when I was in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
No, I love that. And also, the video vixens.
No, yeah, I was about to say.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about, like, I was just like, I was thinking about, for me in the 2000s, I think that's, like, where, at least for me growing up, that's where my introductions to hip hop was, like, watching 106 in Park, trying to catch the countdowns and everything. And, like, I don't know, seeing the artistry through bringing the music alive in such a visual way. I was trying to see, like, what are some of the, like, more impactful, I guess, music videos for you all that during that time period? Because for me, it was definitely, like, Work It by Missy Elliott. I think, like, Crazy in Love sticks out to me with Beyonce. Like, those were the ones where I was just like, this is music. Like, this is wonderful.
This is cinema. I think of the Big Pimpin' music video. Pimp C in that white fur, like, and then I remember
no temperature on television.
I was just about to say, I remember they did the behind the scenes. Remember when they used to show that in the music videos, or, like, the making of? Yeah. And he said, television don't got no temperature. And I said, he got sense.
Yeah.
Drip is forever. Drip is forever.
Right. Yeah, that was him and Gloria. I think she was one of the video vixens in it. But yeah, to bring it back to video vixens, I mean, Kareem Stephens, of course. I read her autobiography in elementary school.
My cousins had it and they wouldn't let me read it. Like, they were like, this is too adult for you. But I always wanted to read it. Do you recommend
Melissa
it
Ford,
to everybody?
I need to read it with my adult eyes.
Fair.
But yeah, Melissa Ford. I mean, she wasn't quite a video vixen, but Reagan Gomez within a couple of videos.
Yes.
Yeah, the girls are really...
They're out here.
Pilar.
Yes.
There's so many.
Takara.
Just like...
Takara, as a plus-size woman, for them to classify Takara as plus-size when I was young and fat, I was like, damn, I don't look like that. And that's what they consider fat. What the fuck am I? But I loved her. First plus-size baddie. My first plus-size idol. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah, the video girls. I remember reading a piece, Vice, RIP.
Isn't that crazy? Woo!
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Some years ago, and it was about how strippers and strip clubs really set the tone for popular hip hop.
Hell yeah.
And it's like what they're dancing to or, you know, the videos they're in or the rappers that they're around. Like, those are the next hot things. I remember Migos talking about, like, when they were kind of blowing up in the early days, and they were like, you know, we were just trying to get played in the strip club, and we got played there. Like, it was up. And it's so true. Like, the baddies, they set the tone. They are the tastemakers.
Because you want to listen to what they're listening to. Like, artists are always talking about how they go to the strip club to test out new music. You know, like, is it hot? Because I want it to be hot on the radio. If it's not hot in the strip club, it's not gonna pop on the radio.
Right.
Exactly. Like, if we're gonna play this in the club and the baddies aren't dancing to this, then what's the point? Like,
exactly. Like, we love him down, but I don't want to hear Benny the Butcher in the strip club. Put on that fucking City Girls, just like he said. Okay, I want to shake my ass. You know what I mean? Like, I want to listen to what the bad bitches are listening to.
Yeah,
you can shake it to Benny.
I couldn't even imagine. Okay, so
shake it to Benny.
So I want to talk about, because it's had such a major resurgence with like a little filter over it. I want to talk about like 2000s fashion, you know, and like what stuck out to us in the 2000s. Like, what have you picked back up in 2024 from your 2000s fashion? And both of you are making a face that tells me everything I need to know.
I'm trying to think about like what I'm not ashamed to like bring up.
That filter is serious business, because
it's crazy.
I haven't seen a feather boa yet.
Please don't bring that back.
I haven't seen a tutu on top of some jeans.
Please
oh my gosh, yes. I was like the
no tank top on top of polos.
I don't want that.
That's where the girls aren't going.
I don't want it back.
That's where we're not going.
I don't want it back.
Let's at least flip up our collars. You know what I'm saying? if we're gonna do it,
pants into the socks again.
Let's commit to the bit.
Right.
let's really do it. Yeah, I think the young folks have it right. You know, they're picking the best of the era.
Picking what
literally.
That's what you have to do, because there was some stuff that was out of pocket.
Remember the like neon colored straight leg jeans that were really popular, like the neon pink, neon yellow, neon orange, like skinny leg jeans with the suspenders, the checkered suspenders.
Jeans.
Oh my god, the snapbacks. Oh my god, the New Boys era.
I was like, that's like New Boys era.
Do you want to know, just like, not to get us sidetracked, because we're almost at an hour. But when I was in 7th grade, the New Boys came and performed at my middle school. I don't know why. I don't know who booked them to perform at a middle school in Chicago. But they came and performed it, and this was like at the height of like, you're a jerk, you know, like that whole dance era. And I've never understood why that happened, but I've never forgotten it. And I was wearing skinny leg jeans and Vans that day. I remember distinctly. I was dressed the part. I didn't even know what was happening, and I was dressed the part.
You know, there's a trend on Instagram right now of like posting you in your teenage years to your story.
Yes.
And they won't catch me.
Hell no.
It's like most of y'all will skip. Yep.
Hell yeah. I fucking skip it every time.
Right.
Because how dare you ask me that?
I'm not posting 3D glasses and checker scarves.
3D glasses with poked out through.
With the poked out lenses. Wow. What were we?
G-Shock watches.
You know, I used to think that G-Shock watches were the most expensive. Like, it was giving Patek Philippe to a poor black girl. Like, a G-Shock watch could never afford it. Could never have afforded it.
Same. That was luxury. High fashion.
High luxury.
And the Uggs, too. Uggs, I used to think Uggs cost $1,000. Like, I could never fathom the cost of Uggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did they not? Were they not $1,000?
Okay, yes. They were a little bit more expensive. But I feel like now today, I don't know I don't know. I had different glasses back then. But to me, I'm like, Uggs don't seem that expensive, but I'm also not interested anymore. Now that they're not that expensive, I'm like, I don't even care that much. No. Okay, can we talk about then like women artists during this era? We've already kind of touched on that were most influential to us. Why don't you start, Brianna?
Yeah, so we're talking about like 2010s-ish, or...
Before we get to the 2010s, before we get there, let's talk about like in the 2000s, women artists that were the most impactful to you in the 2000s.
Yeah, I think Missy Elliott was definitely like my number one during the early 2000s.
That's a good number one to have.
Under Construction, album was like all I had on repeat and recycling through. I'm trying to think. A little bit of Eve, I think, just from like influences of my dad. Eve, like, who else? I'm trying to think.
I was obsessed with Remy.
Oh, Remy, yeah.
Remy was so cool.
The bang, the blonde. Oh my fucking god, the blonde swoop bang. No, she had
her hairstylist was also doing Nicki Minaj's wig.
What?
I can see that.
Yeah. Terrence Davison.
Did they know that? Did they know that the hairstylist was doing both of their wigs? Do you think?
I don't think it was at the same time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Remy had gone to prison. But I think like in the early days of Nicki Minaj's career, like I don't know if he did like the pink in the back, but some of her like more extravagant wigs. Yeah, that was him.
Wow.
So yeah, I thought.
But that's an art though.
Yeah,
that shit is an art.
It is an art.
It's definitely like hair show type vibes.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought Remy was so cool. I was actually talking to my best friend the other day about TRL because she was saying that she went to go see Fat Joe on TRL, like the lean back era.
Oh my god!
I remember Remy in that corset, Remy in the fur in the car driving with the dude with the cornrows.
Please, still think about it to this day.
I thought she was just so cool. I was like, that was, I think, one of like the first tall women in rap that I remembered. And
it's so funny because I never imagined her as being tall.
Yeah, she's like 5'9".
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
She's tall. But yeah, I was such a Remy fan. I just thought she had like this, I don't know, I can't say swagger because that's, saran wrapping myself. But she just had like this confidence
and energy for sure.
Conceited.
I'm conceited.
Yes.
I got a reason. I got a reason. And she did. She did. I thought it was so cool that trend of like being the only woman in like the crew of like guys and they're tough and like she's wearing the Timbs and the hat and like she's rapping. Like I loved seeing that as a little girl. I'm like, oh, she's so cool. Like she's so cool. She's surrounded by all boys. Because I also was at the time, like all my brothers. I was just telling Brooklyn this, like I only have brothers. I only have boy cousins for the most part. So I was always around boys. So when I would see that, I always felt like, oh, like that's me,
I feel seen. I feel seen.
She is me, But let's pivot into, I think, truly one of the biggest, most important and underreported like eras of hip hop, like the blog era of the 2010s, the SoundCloud, social media, streaming era of the 2010s, because I feel like it really ushered in a new age of like internet bloggers, podcasters, social media, streaming, and like, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of just new artists. So I want to know, like, what do you guys think about like how did the rise of social media and the introduction of streaming change hip hop as a culture? And Brooklyn, you can start if you want.
Yeah, I think it democratized it. I think for so long we were dependent on the voices of journalists to guide what we thought was cool or to inform us. And I think with social media and with blogging in particular, anybody could just be like, hey, this is what I think is hot, and make it a massive following just based off of their taste and what they thought was cool. And, it's kind of a double-edged sword because now I think there's a lot of confusion around what a media figure is and what a blogger is. And
we need to open the schools. We need to open the schools. That's what the fuck we need to do. Okay.
But I also think that was a really special point in time. And there are so many dope artists who, came to national prominence or global prominence.
For sure.
With the help of blogs. I remember Azealia Banks.
Yes.
I think Vashti might have had her on her blog. She was like, yo, this girl is like next up. She's hot. So yeah, I think social media kind of gave everybody a voice to share like what they thought was popping.
Democratize is such a good word for it. I would never have thought, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no, I was about to say just like opened access to everyone, right? Of like being able to, I think, like especially I think about like SoundCloud, right? Like the SoundCloud era.
SoundCloud was insane.
Like you could be putting out a whole mixtape on SoundCloud and it's like people are running numbers on this.
I mean, that shit is blowing up. It's everywhere.
Like it was for the independent artist who was like, you know, I'm just trying to put something out there into the ether. Whoever like messes with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I really think about is like that SoundCloud era of like being able to just like put out. I think people who were like true lovers of music and just wanted to be able to feel like they were heard. Yeah. I think that was giving them the platform to be able to do it.
I think I just vividly remember like, this is so random, but I have like such random memories of just remembering like, oh, this is going to pass. I'm not downloading Spotify. I'm not buying iTunes, like whatever.
Pandora.
I'm like, what, you're not about to get me to pay for I'm not about to pay for this. This is just gonna pass. Whatever. It was gonna be like, what was that one? Napster. Remember Napster? I thought it was just gonna go the way of Napster and LimeWire. Like, okay, we'll be done with this pretty soon, you know?
And I'm gonna be calling paying $10
every month.
Every month.
Every goddamn month.
Used to be playing 99 cents for songs or just downloading them.
And you know what? Listen, when Beyonce dropped Lemonade and I did not have Tidal, you better believe I ran and got Tidal. Okay, I said, I'm not missing this shit. Absolutely not. So I think it really did just change everything. But I love that when you brought up Vashti and like thinking about the it girls of the 2000s, like when I think of Vashti, I think of like Tumblr. And like all of the it girls on Tumblr and like Azealia Banks on Tumblr. And I just like, I think of places like Rap Radar, you know, Hot Hip Hop, World Star Hip Hop, and how they used to report on Black women and Black women. Remember Media Takeout? I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. But...
Isn't Media Takeout still like kind of around?
Really?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an internet digger, but no, I see Media Takeout. Maybe not active, like new posts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll dig in the crates and be like, oh yeah, there was Media Takeout.
Wow.
But yeah, there was a number of it girls who are still doing dope stuff.
Hell yeah.
Danny Faye, I remember her from Tumblr. Rhea Carter, she had like long hair that was super colorful, kind of like cotton candy. Kadia, the American Apparel models.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
American Apparel. Justine Skye. She's a DJ now too, and she's making music. And oh my god! Remember, what Britney Skye in the video? What Kendrick? What was the Kendrick video that she started? Was it Poetic Justice? No. Was it? No, it wasn't Poetic Justice. Was it?
I'm not sure.
Hold on. I can't think of it at this very moment, but I guarantee you as soon as we get off here, it's going to come to me. But I feel like this is such an era that's like so underreported. I want to talk about 2010's fashion. And the Jeffrey Campbell boots, the MAC lipstick of it all, the 3 bundle sew-in weaves.
Oh my
and people like Amaya Scott, you know, and Dej Loaf and Santi Gold and like the girls, you know what I mean? Like who are really driving the fashion of that era. I want to know your thoughts on 2010 fashion.
The Rihanna of it all.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The Rihanna. I got a bowl cut in 2012. A burgundy bowl cut.
Really?
My mom was so heated.
Oh my god.
The day before my senior year of high school.
Oh my god.
And my aunt, she shaved my sides, shaved the back.
Oh my god.
And I was like I'm a woman now.
Yeah. Right.
I'm grown.
I'm a grown woman, like Beyonce said.
Yeah. The long acrylic, the French manicures.
Yes.
But instead of the tips being white, they were like, you know, highlighter colors.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The matte lipstick. The natural hair tutorials. I feel like they were becoming really popular during that time period.
Yes.
And as far as like girls that were rapping, Booty Chain. I don't know if y'all listen to her, but she dated Black Cray. And so like they were doing stuff together. They were like Raider Clan, Space Ghost Perp kind of affiliates.
Okay.
So was Amber London. I know I mentioned Azealia Banks.
Yes.
But I think with the rise of social media came just a number of girls who weren't label affiliated. They weren't necessarily connected to a guy. Like they didn't necessarily need that male cosign.
Like Dej Loaf.
Yeah, I was like Dej Loaf.
Yeah, the Asian Dolls, the Rico Nasties.
Wow. Yeah.
Even the Megan Thee Stallions. Because her first Cypher video came out in 2016.
Tierra Whack, Doja Cat SoundCloud era.
Doja Cat. So high.
Oh my God, so high.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Baby Mother. I mean, there were just like a number of women who were just doing really dope stuff. But as far as fashion goes, tights, lots of tights, combat boots.
Yes.
The jean cutoff shorts. Really great wigs.
Such great wigs.
You know, the chokers.
Yes.
The chokers that we were wearing in the early 2000s. And I feel like everyone knew how to do their makeup.
Fedora hats?
Like kind of like a fedora hat, like those like black like large hats. You know what I'm talking about?
Were you wearing
the bucket hat?
No, she's talking about the big hat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said fedoras and I
didn't mean fedora. I didn't mean fedora. But you know what I'm but you got the aesthetic like the
big brims.
Yeah.
The big brim hat with like the poncho and the boot situation. The knee-high boot situation. Oh, you were styling. Okay.
Who is that? Angel Hayes.
Yeah. Angel Hayes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Those are dark ages, but also such dark ages for fashion, but such a great time for music.
I've seen so much wilder fashion wise. I think it was a very tame time period.
Okay.
But great music.
Excellent
for sure.
music. Excellent music.
Experimental. Everybody was just playing. I mean, Bally Baby.
Yes.
Molly Brazy.
Yes.
There are so many girls that I think sprang up during that like SoundCloud, YouTube boom.
Yes.
And not the boom of the apps themselves, but just people like self-releasing music and blowing up for it. And really able to build entire careers and really loyal fan bases. And interacting with those fan bases. I remember Rico had the Sugar Trap. I think it was like a
Sugar Trap. Yeah,
a group chat on Instagram maybe, and she would like interact with her fans. But yeah,
I feel like I guess that's what's the difference. Sorry, I was gonna say I guess, and that's also what's the difference, right, of growing up in that social media era, right? Is that feeling like you had access to that artist. Like whether it was like them posting stories or like their Instagram feed or like actually being able to like, you know, send a comment or something like that. It's like, oh, I have access to this person basically to be able to hang out with them.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe around like 2012, 13, 14, like I really felt like there was a shift in happening because there was this whole like really big like EDM, but then it started to shift to everything sounding like DJ Mustard and Metro Boomin and like the whole era of like, I feel like then hip hop kind of really firmly became the base of so much music that was being released, you know? So I feel like that was such a good time for all these women too, to be self-releasing projects and like throwing shit at the wall. Like, let's try something new, you know? Because right now it's what's hot. So I really love that about that. I just think that era, I feel like we were just so spoiled, you know, like, and we didn't even realize it. There was just so much and so much music. But now we're into a new era. We're 4 years into a new decade, you know. I know it's crazy to think about, but I feel like hip hop it feels so much more different than it ever has been. And I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, it's over, we're done, we're moved past it. Like, I want to know what you guys think. Do we believe that hip hop as we knew it is over? And like, what do we think is the future of hip hop in this decade, in this new decade?
Yeah, I think it's evolved. I think it's just there's more like subsets of hip hop now. Like there's still the base of foundation of like what hip hop is, but now there's like the Rico Nasties of the world who can incorporate like rock sounds into their music, or there's like the pop route where it's like you're being able to, collaborate with pop artists and not have to sound like, so like, I guess from like the 90s, or like so drill, or like there's trap music. So there's so many different subsets of like hip hop, which I think allows, like, it's a growing genre, right? So I think it allows somebody to be able to have them feel seen in all these different ways that hip hop identifies.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think a big part of hip hop's appeal has always been its ability to transform every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's almost unfair to say that hip hop as we knew it is gone, because it's like, of course it is.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to stay the same. It's supposed to grow and change with the time. So I think that the future of it is fun. I'm interested
Absolutely.
to see how I'm interested to see how the relationship between artists and labels change.
Yeah.
I think the UMG and TikTok
Right.
kind of back
Oh,
and
yeah.
forth, and I think that the dissolution of that relationship will be very interesting for artists, and I'm curious to see who chooses to go independent,
Right.
or what other platforms emerge, or people can get their music shared, because there are so many songs that have been able to gain serious songs, and artists who've been able to gain serious steam because of TikTok challenges and viral sounds. So I think the future rests in the hands of artists and consumers.
Yeah, I agree.
That's so true.
No, I 100% agree. I definitely don't know if it's going to look the same as it once did. I think the kind of spoils that we felt of just being like, there's just like this overload of like music that we got in the 2010s. Like, I feel like that's over. I don't foresee that happening, but I'm okay with the pivot. I'm okay with we're moving into, artists being independent, and there's this really big alternative push right now that's happening in hip hop that I really love, and I love women dominating again. So I'm really excited to see what happens. But I want to know, who do you guys think is going to dominate this decade?
It's only 2024, so we got about 6 more years. But I think Doja is.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think Doja is approaching superstar status.
Hell yeah!
I saw someone saying that she should do the Super Bowl, and I was like, the fact that conversation is even happening really speaks to what people think of her and where she is. And I think when it comes to artists who were at one point distributing music on SoundCloud, and again, like, built up that really loyal fan base and got signed, and each project just built on the one before it. And then she had this viral explosion with Moo and Tia Tamera. I think Doja Cat will be one of the names that we're talking about in the 2030s.
Absolutely.
I could see that. The first one that came to my mind was, it was either Meg Thee Stallion or like a Lotto, but I think possibly more of a Meg Thee Stallion, just because of based on her like mainstream appeal. I think now more so. But I think she's going to be one of those that can withstand the test of time as well.
Yeah. I think her and Doja are kind of cut from the same cloth in that way.
Yeah, I think so too.
They're very versatile. But they're also rappers.
They're
they're like real
through.
rappers, and I feel similarly about Lotto. I think knowing how to rap will always carry you to the.
It will always carry you. A quick pen will always carry you.
Okay, they say where talent fails, hard work prevails. Okay, and those babies keep pushing that pen. Okay,
pushing it.
I also think I want to add to that. I agree with everything you said, but I want to add also Flo Milli, Tierra Whack, Ice Spice. I really think are going. It's like it's already written that like Doja Cat and Meg are gonna dominate, but Flo Milli,
Flo. I have loved Flo since I heard Beef.
Yes.
And nobody can take a boy's song and just flip the beat and
totally.
make it such princess music like Flo can. Like, she is.
That's
so,
the perfect way to say it.
I'm not even thinking about the fact that she just did a Throw Some D's remix like 2 days ago.
Yes.
But Never Lose Me.
Yes.
That's a guy's song. I think that's Baby Ray. Is that who that is?
Really?
I'm not sure. I didn't know that.
That's a song by a guy. Maybe it's Babyface Ray.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
She's just Beef. Yeah, Beef is a song by Ethereal from Awful Records. And
wow,
yeah,
you just taught me something today because I didn't know that.
She flipped the. Yeah, she's a beat flipper, and like she does it justice every time.
And she, she really does.
Like her Throw Some D's remix, I was like,
that was hard.
Thank you.
Put it on streaming right now.
Another one, thank you.
100%.
Flo is just, she's
so fucking good.
She's so good.
And you know what? I think she's also just very well-rounded because I've seen her live several times. And when I tell you that she puts on a show every fucking time. And I want to
we love Breath Control.
Hell yeah, because a lot of people don't have it now.
They don't have it.
We have lost the art of, running on the treadmill, Matthew Knowles style. Okay, but she got it. All right. And my last question I want to ask: do we think, because this has been a very big year for women like Victoria Monet, people like her, and a ton of like R&B artists, do we see there being a resurgence, a return of hip hop and R&B collaborations that become like canon, that become just iconic?
I hope so. I think especially with like, what's her name, Coco Jones too.
Yes.
Like, I hope so. I think that the foundation has been laid with Summer Walker too, Ari Lennox. Yeah. Like, I think that we have some of those big steppers out there. I think it's just like only a matter of time of just like making those like a classic song where we're like looking back like, I Want to Be Down. Like, this is like our Want to Be Down today. So
do we have another I Can Love You? Are we do we see there being one of those these decades?
I hope so.
I think today's girls can rap and sing really well.
That's true.
So they might not necessarily come from two different artists.
Right.
Like it might be contained in the same person, like a Tink, for example.
Okay.
True. Tink is another one. Chicago girl. Love her down.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it might come from the same person.
I love that. We want to thank you again for being on. This was such a great conversation. So we always like to end every episode with a music rec by a Black female rapper. So if you have one, you can go. But if not, I can go first.
Go first. And then I can go, and then you can be last, Brooklyn.
Okay, we'll save the best for last. Got it. Okay, so my rec this week is Oblivion by No Name and Common. This is like from her latest album, Sundial, and this is like one of the ones that I just like keep going back to and keep repeating over and over, because I feel like every now and then No Name puts out a song that just makes me go, oh yeah, this bitch be rapping. Like, yeah, she really do that shit, like for real. And I feel like she had a lot of those on this album, but my favorite from the album was Oblivion. So that's my music rec this week.
Nice. My music rec this week, I've been listening to a lot of like Meg Essentials while I've been working out. So I went back to the Traumazine album, and the
one you didn't like?
I didn't. I wasn't feeling it, but like I've been returning to it.
She's a hater, and she was a hater all summer about it.
I'm a Tina Snow girl. Like that's my album that has my heart. But I'm grateful with Kegel. That's my rec for the week.
I love Meg when I'm working out too.
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation for the week is a little bit older, maybe 4 or 5 years old. Okay. And it's not a song; it's actually a freestyle. Mm-hmm. Rhapsody went on Funk Flex and chewed,
love Rhapsody
bad. Like I run that freestyle back so often. Now I love freestyling.
Mm-hmm. Same.
and she just did such an excellent job. And she looked good. She had her nails done, nice middle part.
That always make it better.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, a nice blowout situation. But she was so calm and smooth, and the punchlines were punching. So yeah, Rhapsody's Funk Flex.
Okay,
Rhapsody Funk Flex.
That.
I love a Funk Flex moment.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And if you made it all the way to this episode, thank you everybody for listening. Make sure you go and read the Beyonce and Miss Tina Knowles cover story that Brooklyn just wrote for Essence, and follow her on Twitter and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in our next episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Where My Girls At, a podcast about Black women in hip hop. Where My Girls At is produced and edited by Mariah Woods and hosted by Mariah Woods and Brianna LaRosliere. Follow us on Twitter at Where My Girls At 2, on Instagram at Where My Girls At _TH, and on TikTok at Where My Girls At Pod. See you next time.